Imagine something so tiny that millions could fit on a pinhead, yet powerful enough to make the whole world stop. What is it? A virus. Are viruses alive? How do they spread? And why are they so hard to stop? Let's find out. So, what is a virus? Here's our first clue. Viruses are a type of germ, but they are so incredibly tiny that you can't see them with a normal light microscope, like the ones we use in this lab. To see a virus, you need a super-powered electron microscope. They are very simple. Their main ingredient is genetic material. Think of it like an instruction manual. And these instructions have one main job: to infect the cells of animals and plants, which makes the organism sick. So, they are like tiny, invisible pirates trying to hijack cells. Now, let's look at the blueprint of this pirate ship. Most viruses have three key parts. First, the outer protein coat. What's its job? Just like a knight's armor, its function is protection. It covers and shields the delicate stuff inside. Next, the surface proteins. See those little pegs sticking out? They aren't for decoration. Their function is to stick to cells. It's like a key looking for a very specific lock on the surface of a cell. Finally, the RNA threads. This is the most important part, the genetic material. Its function is to hold the code, the instructions, for making more viruses. It tells the cell how to build new protein coats and new surface proteins. So, armor, a key, and an instruction manual. That's the basic virus toolkit. This leads us to a massive debate in science. It's a question that seems simple but is actually very tricky. Are viruses alive? Let's investigate this like true biologists. How do we decide if something is living? We use the rules of life, Mrs. Gren, or the characteristics of living things. Let's test a virus against these characteristics. Does it move by itself? No. Does it respire? No. Does it feed? No. Does it grow? No. Is it sensitive to the surrounding? Not really. And if we look inside, does it have a cytoplasm, a cell membrane, or any organelles? No. Viruses do not have any of these. So what is the final decision? Since a virus doesn't do any of the things living things do on its own, scientists classify it as not a living thing. But if they're not alive, how do they make more of themselves? They pull off a heist, and it happens in 4 sneaky steps. 1. Attach. First, you use your surface protein, the key, to find the perfect lock on the outside of a cell. It has to be a perfect match, like a puzzle piece. 2. Invade. Once you're locked on, you inject your genetic instructions, the RNA, into the cell. After this step they have broken in. 3. Hijack. This is the clever part. The virus sneak into the cell's control room and shout, "Stop what you're doing. Your new job is to follow my instructions." The poor cell is now forced to use its own energy and machinery to read the viral RNA and build hundreds of new viruses. 4. Spread. Once the cell is packed full of new virus particles, they burst out. This often destroys the cell. Now, all those new viruses float off to find new cells to infect, and the cycle starts all over again. Alright, we've cracked what a virus is and how it hijacks our cells. But now for the most important part. How do these tiny pirates travel from person to person, and how can we stop them? Direct contact. This is exactly what it sounds like. Person-to-person touch. Through things like kissing or shaking hands with someone who is infected. The virus can be in their saliva or on their skin. So, how do we prevent this? Social distancing. Sometimes, keeping a bit of space between you and others can stop the virus from jumping across. Washing hands. This is your #1 weapon. Soap doesn't just wash viruses away. It actually breaks them apart. It's like pulling the plug on the pirate ship. This is a bit sneakier. The virus doesn't need the infected person to be there. By touching an infected surface, like a doorknob, a tablet screen, or a handrail that someone coughed on. Or through the air when someone coughs or sneezes without covering their mouth. Those tiny droplets can carry viruses. What are the defenses? Disinfecting surfaces. Regularly cleaning things we all touch. Wearing face masks. Masks act like a shield, stopping those droplets from flying into the air or into our mouths and noses. Contaminated food and water. Eating undercooked food, especially meat, or drinking dirty water that has been contaminated with a virus. Prevention is simple. Store and cook food well. Make sure your food is properly prepared. Always drink clean, safe water. Through animals. Sometimes, viruses use animals as taxis. Through mosquito bites, like with dengue fever, or animal bites, like rabies. To stop this, we need to control pests, use mosquito nets and repellent. Avoid wild animals. Never approach or touch a wild animal that seems sick or acting strangely. So, we have many strategies to fight back. Let's look at them in more detail. Vaccination. This is like a training program for your immune system. A vaccine contains a weakened virus, a dead virus, or just a piece of a virus, like just the surface protein, key. It's completely harmless. It trains your body's defenses to recognize the real virus. So if the real pirate ship ever attacks, your immune system is ready to destroy it super fast, often before you even feel sick. And it works. Did you know? One virus, smallpox, was so dangerous it killed millions of people. But thanks to a global vaccination campaign, it is now completely wiped out from the entire planet. It's the only human disease we've ever completely erased. That's the power of vaccines. Our everyday habits are a huge defense. Hand washing, 20 seconds with soap. Sing, happy birthday, twice. Soap breaks the virus's outer coat. Sanitizing surfaces, keeping things clean. Covering coughs, sneezes. Catch it in a tissue or your elbow, not your hands. Sometimes, we need to work together as a whole community or country to stop a virus. This is called public health. Isolation. If someone is sick, they stay away from healthy people to avoid passing it on. Quarantine. If someone might have been exposed, they stay separate for a while to see if they get sick. Travel restrictions. Limiting travel can help slow a virus's spread across the world. Antiviral drugs. For viruses, we have special antiviral drugs. They don't kill the virus, but they slow down how fast it can reproduce inside your body. This gives your immune system more time to fight back and win. Examples are drugs for flu or HIV. Insect control. To stop animal-spread viruses, use insect repellent and sleep under mosquito nets in areas where mosquito-borne diseases are common. Education and awareness. And finally, the most important tool of all, knowledge. By learning how viruses spread, which is what you're all doing right now, you become a virus-fighting expert. Education encourages people to get vaccinated, wash their hands, and make smart choices to keep themselves and everyone else healthy. Now, you are ready for some questions. Pause the video and answer, then resume to check if they are right. First, let's explain the words. Everywhere. Viruses exist in almost every environment on Earth. Bacteria. This provides a scale reference. Bacteria are prokaryotic cells, while viruses are much smaller and are cellular, which means that they are not made of cells. Invade. Living organisms. Viruses cannot reproduce on their own. They must infect a living host cell, for example from an animal, plant, or bacterium to replicate. Virus-making factories. Once a virus invades a host cell, it hijacks the cell's machinery, like ribosomes and mitochondria, to copy its genetic material and create new virus particles. Diseases. This is the negative effect of the viral invasion and replication process, which damages the host organism and leads to illnesses like the flu, COVID-19, or measles. Parasites. A parasite is an organism that lives on or in a host organism and gets its food from or at the expense of its host. Viruses are perfect parasites because they are entirely dependent on their host for replication. The answers will be as follows. Viruses are found everywhere. They are very small, even smaller than bacteria. Viruses invade the bodies of living organisms and turn them into virus-making factories. As a result, viruses cause many diseases in other organisms. They are sometimes described as the perfect parasites. A. State 3 structures found in all viruses. Genetic material, DNA or RNA. This is the core of the virus, containing the instructions needed to replicate. It can be either DNA or RNA, but never both. A protein coat, capsid. This is a shell made of protein subunits called capsomeres that surrounds and protects the genetic material. To provide a full three-part answer as the question asks, surface protein. Genetic material, DNA or RNA, protein coat, capsid. B. Write down one reason why viruses could be considered non-living. They cannot carry out metabolic processes, e.g., respiration, on their own. Explanation. Viruses lack the fundamental process for metabolism. Outside of a host cell, they are dormant particles, much like a complex chemical. They do not respire, release energy from food, feed, take in nutrients, grow, increase in size or complexity by adding new material, excrete, get rid of waste products. They only become active in replicating and behaving like a living thing once they have infected a host cell and hijacked its metabolic machinery. This is the primary reason they are not classified as living organisms.